We all need more listings. Are you looking for a way that you can get 75% open rates on emails to homeowners? I got an answer for you today. I love when I have an opportunity to share with you some places and maybe some strategies that I've used in my business where I don't come from a place of speaking in theory or what I heard someone did, but a place of experience. And today I get to do that. I'm going to talk to you. We all hear about farming neighborhoods. I'm going to put a little twist on this, and we're going to talk about doing digital farming. In other words, taking and building an email list of owners in a certain neighborhood or a condominium and having the ability to reach out to them on a consistent basis and add value. So why digital farming? Let me just say this. When you're out there and you're doing, mailers still work. You should absolutely be using mailers. When you're making calls to neighborhoods and you're circle prospecting, it absolutely works. What we're talking about here, though, is something that gives you the ability to leverage your time and also not have a big expense. Email marketing costs you zero once you build the marketing list, the email list. So I want to talk to you today about what this strategy looks like. Basically, it's the same thing as sending out, and when you're out there sending out these mailers to these neighborhoods, we're going to do it in an email format. We're going to provide information about what's going on in the neighborhood. I'll give you a background on this. I actually had a condo that I had listed, older condo. I got an email with this listing from the owner that said, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I got this email from the HOA. They're going to be paving the parking lot, so we need to hold off on showing the place on this day. I got the email and I looked, and they had not blind copied all of the email addresses. It had the name of the owner, it had the unit number, and it had their email address. And in my mind, I was like, this is an opportunity for me to add value to all of those owners. Now, let me just say this with no reservations. Do not spam anyone. I'm not talking about spamming. I will say this, every single time that I've added value to people, I've never had anybody complain about this. I'm going to give you the exact format that I use that's going to help you do this. But what I began to do when I had that list was, on a monthly basis, I gave an update on the neighborhood. As I began to give these updates, each time I sent it out, it almost became like an ATM. I would send this exact email out with changing the numbers, updating the information, and every single month, for a long stretch there, I was getting people asking me for, give them updated valuation analysis on their place. Asking, when do you think the best time is to sell? Asking, maybe if I add this kitchen, would it help my price? It just led to those relationships that helped me actually come into a place where I became the dominant agent in that farm area. So let me start with, what does the email look like, okay? Or how do I get the email addresses? Because a lot of people will ask me that. They'll say, well, how do I get email addresses? Again, we're not wanting to spam people. We're wanting to add value to them. But email addresses are basically public information now. It's not that hard to get if you do a little digging. The first place I would say start in your own neighborhood. If you're an owner in a neighborhood and you want to be the person of choice in your neighborhood, odds are your HOA or your neighborhood has an owner's list. As an owner, request a copy of the owner's list. Many of those lists are going to have email addresses. Build a database, whether you're using something like MailChimp or Constant Contact, build a database of all of those email addresses for those owners. Now, if you aren't in a neighborhood or your HOA doesn't have it, let me give you a couple of other options on where you can find email addresses. Number one is if you sold into a neighborhood, simply asking one of your great clients that owns in a neighborhood, hey, do you happen to have a list of your homeowners? And then when they say, maybe, this is the way I always followed up. Listen, I would love to add value to the neighbors. I'm not going to spam anyone. I just want to simply add value by letting them know what's going on. If you happen to have a copy of it, I would love a copy of it. I've had many of our past clients give us that owner list in those neighborhoods. Now, let me say if you don't have those, there's a couple of other options. Fiverr, Fiverr.com, does have the ability for you to hire someone, give them the addresses of the people that are owners in the neighborhood, and they can put together a list. I will say those lists have been about 60% correct when we've done that in the past. So understand your first few times that you send emails out, you're probably going to see a big bounce rate on a large percentage. But think about this. If you had a subdivision that has 500 homes in it, and you're going to have 300 homeowners' email addresses that you can just add value to. Because listen, Ultimately, it's about adding the value. If you have 300 homeowners, I promise you, if you continuously continue to add value to those folks, you will get business, all right? Also, PropStream. PropStream is a great tool that you can utilize. It'll give you the opportunity to go in and purchase some email addresses as well. It's a great format that's out there. That's another option as well. Now, let's say you've got your email addresses, you've built your email database. What should the email look like? Because ultimately, if you're not adding value, this is not for you. This is not going to help you. It's going to be basically what it should look like. Let's start with the most important part, which is the title. We want the title of the email or the subject line to be very personalized. We want it to be very localized. So for instance, I'm going to use this, Live Oak Subdivision. I'm just using this as an example. If Live Oak Subdivision is who you're sending this to, here's the way that I titled or had the email subject line. Live Oak Subdivision, March Sales Update. Live Oak Subdivision, February sales update. You want it very specific where it's that month, where you're giving the information on that month. When I did this, I was getting 75 to 80% cold email open rates because it was very specific to something that that owner was interested in. It gave them specific information about the neighborhood where they owned a home. When you get specific on your subject line, you're going to see that your open rates are going to go through the roof. We're talking about an industry average that's 16 to 18%, and I was running 75% into these neighborhoods that I was getting open rates to go through into the information. Now let me give you the format. If you're not comfortable on video, get comfortable on video. There's a couple of ways you can do this though. What I did is the top portion of this email, the format I used, was a picture with a play button on it. Now, listen, you may be saying, well, I'm not sure how to do that. If you go to Canva, take a photo of yourself in front of the neighborhood or something that's recognizable in the neighborhood. Use that as your photo. Go to Google, go into the images and search for YouTube play button. Take that YouTube play button, go to Canva, take your picture and put your play button on top of that. And then on the play there, write in on top of that text-wise, reinforce what you said in your subject line. So, for instance, if it's March, it would be March sales details for Live Oak Subdivision or whatever subdivision you're in. Make sure that you have it where when they see the photo and it has a play button, the most interesting and most irresistible thing on the internet right now is the play button. So if you push that play button, it's going to give them the ability to then be redirected to your video. And I'm going to talk about what this video looks like, okay? So make sure you've got that. They will click that button. I promise if you put that play button there with information that is pertinent to them, they will click the play button. So what are we going to show them on the video? I mixed this up. You can use Zoom and record your screen. You can use BombBomb and record your screen. Whatever it is that you're using to record your screen. And if you're super shy, you don't have to have your picture on there. You can just have the actual page and you talking when you're recording it on Zoom. But here's what I would encourage you to do. Brand yourself by showing your face. Have your face on there. When I was doing these updated reports each month, it was simply me pulling up the MLS sheet that showed what was active, what was pending, and what had sold in the last 3 months. And then what I did on the video is I just came on and I said, hey, super excited to give you an update for March on what's happened in the neighborhood. Let me show you what's actively for sale right now. We have these 3 homes and I've got it already on the screen. I'm using my cursor to circle those things, show them that information. Then I'm going down to the pending. Hey, these places went under contract in the last 60 to 90 days. They're getting ready to close. And here are the places that have actually sold. Now, I'd take these and I would say, if you can see by these, the prices are increasing. And then I would say, if you're curious about what your place would sell for, feel free to reach out. I'd love to give you an updated, free, no obligation valuation analysis. Listen, let me be your resource. If I can do anything with Live Oak Subdivision, if you have any questions or I can help in any way, don't hesitate to give me a call. Lastly, want to make sure you know this. We've got an automated system that can send you updates each time a place comes on the market, goes under contract, or is sold in Live Oak Subdivision. If you'd be interested in receiving this information, just email me back and I'll be glad to make sure that you receive that information immediately as activity happens. I began to then build those relationships. I used MLS, we used Boomtown for ours. Whatever it is for you, putting them on that campaign where they're receiving updates with your picture on things and activity that's happened in the neighborhood just continues to reinforce that you're the resource in that neighborhood. Now, what are we going to do with this video? We're going to have that video housed somewhere. With BombBomb, you can just have it housed on BombBomb. You're going to take and you're going to have it where that photo that you had on your top of your email, you're going to actually go down to the little link button down below. You're going to click the link button and you're going to redirect with that link to wherever it is that you're wanting to go. YouTube, whether it's Vimeo, whether it's something on BombBomb. That video will be housed somewhere. When we put that picture up there with that video and we have it linked there, it's going to give you the ability to reinforce through video what's going on. Now listen, not everybody watches video. So what we want to do is we want to use the base portion of the email to reinforce what we said in that video. So this is what it looks like. Listen, I've written articles for Entrepreneur, for Huffington Post, for Inman, for a number of different magazines. One of the most critical things you do is you have to understand that people are scanners. So they're going to look for what is important to them. So you want to put in bold, basically up top when you start the text portion below the video, and it's going to say, again, reinforcing, it's going to say March sales update for Live Oak subdivision. Big bold letters, that's your header. The next portion will be one paragraph. It'll be updated information on the neighborhood. One paragraph. This would be something along these lines. As you'll see below, there have been 3 new places come on the market in the last month. There have been 2 that have gone pending, and we've had 3 that have closed in the last 6 months, or whatever the information is. Below you'll see exactly which ones are for sale, which ones are under contract, and which ones are pending. Basically just giving them an update. Or this is the place if you've got a specific buyer for that neighborhood where you would mention, if anyone knows of anyone that has a 3-bedroom house, I have a great family from wherever they're from that is looking to move into the neighborhood. I would appreciate it if you let me know if you hear of any of your neighbors that are considering selling. Then we're going to go down to the next bold. Again, we're bolding these up. We did basically the update on the community. Now we're going to go to active listings for sale. Now that's going to be bold, and then we're going to give a description of what's for sale. We're going to say, actually, unit or 123 Live Oak Avenue is now for sale. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's priced at whatever, and it's been on the market for X number of days. Number 2. 147 Live Oak Avenue is actually for sale also, and it is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath or 3 bath or whatever it is, priced at, and it's been on the market for X number of days. Then we're going to go down to the next one. It's going to be pending contracts in Live Oak subdivision. We're going to go in and we're going to say this one was priced at this. It was this many bedrooms and baths. It's under contract and scheduled to close on this date. Same thing, all of those pendings. And then we're going to come down to the sold, and we're going to say this one actually sold on the date it sold. It was this size, many square feet, priced at blank per square foot. We're going to give them details on those sales. Here's where we're going to wrap it up, down at the very bottom of these, after we've given them these details. We're going to have an area that is basically going to come in and is going to talk to them about some opportunities for them. Okay, this is our soft call to action. In this part, what we're going to do is the first part is going to simply be this. If the market is moving, if you're curious about the value of your home, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I'll be glad to provide you with a free, no obligation, updated valuation analysis. Second paragraph. Also, we have an automated system that will provide you with emails every time something comes on the market, goes under contract, or is sold in your neighborhood. If you'd like to receive these automated emails, just reply back to me, and I'll be glad to have that system set up to where you can get that information immediately as it happens. This is all we're doing. I'm not asking, do you want to list your house? I'm not asking, I'm just adding value. I never had a single person complain about this. I never had a single person sit back and say, I wish you wouldn't provide me so much information. You see, when you become the resource and you do this on a continuous basis, all of a sudden that repetition of once a month is going to build your reputation as the expert in the neighborhood. We're going to supplement this with, as you get your first listing, sending a just listed email out to the same group, sending just solds out to this group. We're going to send them if there's something that is happening in the community that we want to provide information on. We're going to provide information and become the expert. The great news about digital farming is once you get the email addresses, once you get the format, it costs you $0 to go out and do this. This is a strategy that I'm not speaking from theory. I'm telling you because I know because it worked in my business, it'll work in yours. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.